gentlemen, welcome to episode 90 of Petey's Awesome Guest Panel, and that's my favorite number because that was the year I was born. Now, before I introduce tonight's iconic guest star, I would like to introduce again, returning and Power Ranger enthusiast, my co-host, Kwame Jacobs.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Always great to see you, Kwame. Now, tonight's guest star is the star of both Mighty Morphin and Alien Rangers, Power Rangers, excuse me, and he's one of my favorite all-time actors, like watching Power Rangers growing up. And my guest at this time is young Tommy himself, Mr. Michael R. Gotto. Michael, welcome.
Hey.
How are you today, sir?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks for having me, Peter. Kwame, glad you're on as a co-host. Just honored to be here, guys. Thanks so much.
It's a total honor to have you. And I met you in New York actually 2 weeks ago, and I told you how much I absolutely loved your role as young Tommy.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, that was a blast meeting you at Infinite Collectibles there in Brooklyn. That was so much fun.
You made my day. You made my day, Michael.
Oh, you made mine for coming out. Thanks.
Bless you, sir. Now, the first question I have for you, and this is going to be a typical cliche question, and that is, how did you get your first big break into acting? Take us there.
Okay, so it's an interesting story. Let me just share. So my dad actually knew Jason David Frank when Jason was about 4 years old. They were in the same martial arts system together. And so when JDF got the part, he wanted to take my dad down to the set to show him around. And so he took my dad down to the set. They were walking around and they happened to run into some producers of the show. And Jason said, "Hey, my friend here has 3 sons." And the producers were like, "Oh, really? Do you have any pictures?" And my dad, being my dad, happened to have pictures of us printed, ready to go. And so he shared those with the producers. And about a month later, they called for us to audition for, actually, originally, they wanted us to audition for young Adam, the young Black Ranger. But then when we got there, I think the pictures had us with short hair. So we got there, my brothers and I we had grown our hair out and had the Tommy look. So when we got there, they said, "Oh, actually, we're gonna change this up and have you try out for Tommy, young Tommy." So auditioned. In the middle of my audition, I had to say some lines and then do some martial arts. And while I was doing some martial arts, I did some acrobats. I did a front handspring into the splits. And when I did that, I knocked the camera over. So I think that may have helped me stand out a little bit. They were like, "You know what, let's call back the kid who knocked the camera over." But anyway, 2 weeks after that, I got a call back to read for the producers, and then they offered me the job. So it was a blessing.
It was, and even that one like when you actually dropped the camera, that's what was the catalyst for you getting the role.
Could have been.
The next question I have for you is, as an actor, though, are there any methods or preparation you do when you're preparing for a particular role? In this case, Power Rangers.
Well, I mean, you need to study your lines. You need to know the context of the scene to make sure that you are, just psychologically in the zone, ready to portray the character in the right context, and also make sure that the scene flows well. So it's looking at not just your lines and trying to memorize those, but it's also seeing what everyone else is saying and what comes before and what comes after, so that you can be prepared to just fulfill that part as well as possible.
I see. And the next question I had for you, and I ask this to every actor that's come on my show, and that is, in a scenario, I'll give you a scenario right now. If you're doing a role in which you and an actor have to go into a scene where it involves you getting into a heated argument, and you have to attach on to cap on real life emotion, like raw emotion. And in this scene, if you're working with your fellow castmate and they go up to you and say, "Mr. Gotto, this scene requires us to get into a heated argument where we have to tell a story." Now, I know it's going to sound very weird, but I need you to lay into me so hard that you can make me cry for real in order to tell a story and make it believable. If you were approached with this kind of method, how would you react, and what would you tell this castmate?
You know what, I would say, let me think of something in real life that would draw out those emotions. And so I would think of something that was upsetting or very emotional in real life and kind of think about that going into the scene. It would be hard. at least for me to kind of practice that, it would need to be raw and real and in real time. So it would just be getting into that mindset and then going right into the scene and seeing what comes of it.
Oh, okay. Like same here. Like I would think about that and like and then I would like if I was an actor, I would definitely use like real tears, but use a fake reason why I'm crying.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if I was the one being the one that was laying into someone, like on screen I'd be doing that, but off screen I'd be the first one to be very apologetic. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so
Oh
sorry.
yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing, right? It's make believe, but you want it to be believable, right? So you want the audience to believe it. But as soon as I say cut, it's like, hey man, come here. We're cool.
Yeah, bring it in, man.
Mhm,
Kwame, you had a question?
mhm. Do you wait? Do you have any memories of the audition of my Morphin and Alien Rangers? Like any memories you find great? Like the good times?
During the audition process?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, apart from knocking over the camera, I vividly remember us when we pulled into the parking lot of the casting director's building. My mom was fixing our hair, so she was putting all of our hair in our ponytails, getting ready to go. And I remember the casting director when we got up to her office. She said, "You know, I was watching you guys from my window, getting ready down there outside your vehicle, getting ready to come up here." So that was fun. I also remember the final audition with the producers. So what happened was they called me in and they didn't give me the lines ahead of time. They literally handed me a script as I was walking into the producers. And so that's called a cold reading, where you don't know what it's about. You don't get to practice, you don't get to rehearse. You walk in literally and have to just go. And that's what I did for that final round. And it was nerve-wracking, but in some ways uh, more natural because you don't overthink it.
Oh, okay. And of course, were you a fan of the Power Rangers series prior to getting your role as young Tommy?
All right, so here's the truth on this, guys. Honestly, I am not proud of this. I just it is what it is. My brothers and I had not seen the show before I got the part. I didn't know
Really?
what it was. When my dad came to us and said, "Hey, you're gonna try out for a show called Power Rangers," I said, "Dad, I don't understand. Why are we trying out for a Western?" Because of the word Ranger. I had no idea what it was. Um, but then I learned, and it was just such a blast. And obviously, 30 years later, has made such a profound impact on so many people around the world.
Absolutely cool. And you mentioned also too the word Ranger. Like, were you thinking like when you say like a Western, like the Texas Ranger or the Lone Ranger?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we knew martial arts, so I was like, okay, so maybe it's kind of like that, or just had martial arts embedded in it, but I didn't know.
Oh, okay. And Kwame,
Mm.
before you ask your next question, I just want to say too that I remember watching you as young Tommy, and with the long hair, luxurious hair you had, I'm thinking to myself, like as a young kid, I'm like, man, I wish I had hair like his.
Well, you do.
Not
Look
now
at
I do. Well, now I do,
beautiful
but as a
locks.
kid, I had super short hair. Well, I
You
had like
both
a
do.
mush. I had a mushroom haircut when I was a kid.
Did you? Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? We all had our different haircuts, but I think you both are rocking the long locks now, and they look great.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh,
Thanks.
you're a handsome devil yourself, sir.
Thank you.
But
That's
hair
lovely.
slicked back, I love it. Kwame, your next question, my man.
Sure, man. Let's see. Do you have any good memories that you've had with Jason David Frank? Like, is there any good memories you hold?
Oh, absolutely. So many. I'll just pick a few. So, when he wasn't filming and I was, I got to use his dressing room. But there were times when he'd come by and visit me in his own dressing room as I was using it, and he would just tell jokes and mess around, and he was always so fun like that. He was always so encouraging. Just, hey man, you got this. I wouldn't want anyone else to play me. Um, you're gonna be great. And so that encouragement was so meaningful to me. And then I'll just share this one where it was my last day of filming, and we were walking to the car, and he was walking my dad and me out, and he took off his communicator, and he said, "Here, man, I want you to have this." I was like, "Are you serious? Like, are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah, it's my gift to you." And I said, "But what are you gonna?" He's like, I'll just tell him I lost it." So I guess he was notorious for losing things, and so he left us, and I could hear him say, "Props! I can't find my communicator watch." You
Yeah.
know. And so they were like, "Oh, Jason," they had to whip him up a new one right away before he could continue filming. And so I still have his communicator today. It actually, you could, if you see it, it has the original green paint from when he was the Green Ranger, and they had painted white over it. So I have his watch, his communicator. I also have mine.
Very cool. Very cool.
We're very, very lucky. And speaking of that, I've actually got the pop figure of him as the Green Ranger, so he can always be on my shelf, so I can always remember him. And you are very, very lucky to have actually got to work with such a great legend. And I just wish Peter and I were lucky to have met him, because he was one of my idols, and he's literally the type of guy to tell me and Peter and everyone else to never give up. Because in
Absolutely.
my head, I can still hear his voice.
No, he made such a positive impact on so many lives across the globe, really, and his legacy will live on.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so completely blessed and honored to have been one small part of his story and his journey, and to play him not just as young Tommy, but also young Jason David Frank in the White Ranger kata was just an incredible life's honor.
You're very lucky.
Absolutely. And Kwame,
Honestly.
before you ask your next question, I just want to ask Michael. Michael, did you have the those Green with Evil VHS tapes of Tommy growing up?
No, I
Oh,
didn't. The first VHS tapes I had of Power Rangers were my episodes. We recorded them as they played on Fox 11, Fox Channel, Fox Kids, I
yes.
think it was called, if you remember. And we recorded them, and I still have those VHS tapes. And I just went through them the other day I have every episode on VHS, with commercials and all.
Bless you. And you also you grew up watching the other shows like Power Rangers too, like Beetleborgs and VR Trooper, right?
You know, I didn't watch those shows, but I did have the honor of being part of the pilot episode of Beetleborgs. So Saban asked me to play Drew McCormick, one of the lead characters in Beetleborgs, one of the Beetleborgs, in the pilot episode to sell to Fox when they were doing that. So that was so much fun and such an incredible honor. Saban just gave me a lot of opportunities that I'll forever be grateful for.
Oh, that's so cool.
Guys.
Kwame, your next question?
Mhm. Are there any funny moments, like from behind the scenes, or funny stories you would like to share while you were filming Power Rangers?
Sure. Well, actually, some of them are captured in the bloopers on some of the episodes. If you watch long enough through the end of some of the episodes, you'll see that when I get the giggles, when I start to laugh, there's no stopping it. So there were times in the middle of filming where I had the giggles, and it would interrupt filming, it would interrupt the scene probably too many times, to the point where some of the directors like, "All right, Michael, like hold it together. Like come on, we got to finish this." So I just love to laugh, and that was one of my most vivid memories.
Very cool. And out of all the cast members that you worked with, who were the ones you were very close to working on the set? And do you still keep in touch with them to this day?
All right, so yeah, I was close with all my castmates, but in particular, Mike Olasky, who played Little Rocky, Young Rocky, the Red Ranger, as well as Cody Slayton, who played Young Bulk. Unfortunately, he passed away back in 2019. Miss that guy
I see.
so much.
Sorry, you
Yeah.
lost a friend, man.
No, it was tough, and my heart continues to go out to his family. And then, of course, Matthew Sakamoto, who played young Adam. So we all connected very well. There was a lot of great chemistry between all of us, and we would even hang out after filming. We would go to Magic Mountain together. We would go to pizza joints together and hang out and play games, and even spend the night at each other's homes once in a while. unfortunately, after so many years, life just got busy and we all kind of went our separate ways and didn't really keep in touch for many years until this last Power Morphicon back in August. I reconnected with Michael Lasky, and actually, let me take a step back. A couple months before Cody passed away, he and I reconnected. We even had a phone conversation where we were talking about putting together a Young Ranger reunion, and he and I were going to work on that together and make that happen. And then, unfortunately, I got the news that he had passed away. So, anyway, I am still working on that reunion and trying to get everyone together. We're making great progress on that front and hope to make it happen this year.
Awesome. And Kwame, before you ask the next question, I just gotta say to Michael too, I'm very proud and very proud that I was able to help Brandon find young Kat and young Kimberly. That I was very happy. I do anything for you and the Power Ranger community.
No, Peter, I really appreciate that. You were instrumental in making those connections, and yeah, any help we can get, we appreciate, and I want to thank you so much for that.
Anytime. I also recently gave him like the info for young Tanya and a young Ryan Mitchell who was on Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And are you gonna be at Morphicon next year? Do I get to see you in person again?
You know what? Nothing's set in stone. That those conversations usually happen a little bit closer to the event. As long as the dates work with my schedule, I would be happy to come back and continue to meet the fans and connect with people. Power Morphicon was my first con last year ever. I didn't really even realize there was this whole scene, and JDF called me a few years back and was like, before the pandemic, and was like, "Hey, you got to come out. There are people who are asking like what you're up to these days, and they want to meet you, they want to see you." And I said, "Okay, I didn't even know. I'm happy to do it." And so he really was the catalyst for me starting this journey to connect with the fans at different venues like conventions, comic book stores, and other signings.
Oh, okay. Hope to see you next year. I got my ticket.
Nice.
What you do?
Yep. Kwame, your next question?
What was it like filming in the command center? Like in the set of it? What was it like in there?
Well, I'll tell you, even though I hadn't seen the show, when I walked into that place, I was amazed. I mean, you just walk in, you're like, whoa, this is so cool, so special. And I just remember looking at all the buttons and the lights and just the whole set and thinking, wow, this is awesome. Zordon, of course, his part was just a blue screen in the background, and they would add his face later, in post-production. But we had to pretend like he was there, and we knew he was there in spirit. But no, it was a blast. Some of my favorite memories were there, just with all the lights and the cameras and the scenes that we filmed there, just so special.
Cool.
And
Kwame, you had another question, right?
wait. Oh yeah, that's right. Is there like a specific line that that is your favorite as young Tommy?
Yep. Well, actually, I'm going to give you two.
Go on.
And a lot of my friends, when they bring up the fact that I was young Tommy on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they always quote one of my first lines. Actually, it was my first line in Rangers in reverse. So my very first 2 episodes, my line was, "Come on, guys, let's go to the park." And that's where we beat up the putties and had that whole scene. So that was fun. But I think what trumps that even more is the line of all time. It's Morphin time.
Oh yeah, I remember young Tommy said it and nothing happened.
No. So it was awesome that I didn't get to say it in my first 2 episodes, but when we came back for the Alien Ranger season, or that next season with the Alien Rangers, it was written into into the script for me to say, and I was like, yes, even though we don't actually morph, at least I get to say it. And so of course I wanted to say it just like JDF.
Cool.
I mean, if there was a plot twist, if you actually morphed, that would have been epic.
Yeah, I would have marked out for that.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so much fun. Yeah, I guess they
Agreed.
just decided as kids we wouldn't have those powers.
And
Well,
I want to
yeah.
ask you because you mentioned you were battling the putties, which were the stunt doubles that you were battling. Like, how was the choreograph when in the fighting scenes? That they have like where you say, okay, punch, punch, kick. Like, how did that do it behind the scenes?
Oh, great question. Actually, because the directors knew that I knew martial arts, they allowed me to choreograph my martial arts with the putties. So I worked on writing those moves with the stuntmen uh, who I engaged. So yeah, we kind of said, okay, we'll start with you running up to me. I'll kick you low in the leg, and then we'll weave in a spinning roundhouse kick. So
Strategically mapping it out, right?
oh yeah, it was fun.
So cool. And
Hmm.
speaking of that though, did you have a particular scene that you filmed, like your favorite scene, where it stuck out so much that you said, "Man, this scene was awesome. Let's do this again."
Oh gosh, there were a lot of those, but if I had to pick one, I mean, besides the ones where the Rangers shrunk into the kids, and we got to literally stand in and assume their positions to become their younger selves. One of the most special memories I have was on the bus. There was a bus scene where we threw anything we could get our hands on at Rito because he had jumped onto the bus to try to get us. And I came up with this plot to throw things at him and get him away. That was a lot of fun because we just got to go crazy and throw whatever we wanted at him.
Sweet. And and I asked this to all my guest stars too, and I'm a total nerd when I ask this question, and I'm gonna ask it to you too, and that is, whenever I'm not on a strict military-like diet, I am an absolute foodie. And I know Power Rangers is a big production company, so I was just wondering what the catering scene was like filming Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and did you have a particular favorite meal?
Oh, yes, yes, and yes. I love food too. Probably a little too much, but I remember the first day of filming, actually, the catering truck broke down. So the producers went to McDonald's and grabbed a mound of sausage egg McMuffins with hash browns and orange juice and all this stuff. So that was the first meal, the first day of filming. And so I don't know if it was because of that, but after that, once the catering truck was there, I would always ask in the morning for a sausage egg McMuffin. They would make me a custom sausage egg McMuffin on I guess it wasn't a McMuffin because it wasn't McDonald's, but it was that type of sandwich each morning that I'd get there. And I think that probably contributed to some extra pounds that I gained along the way.
You look good. You look good, Mr. Gatto. You look great in shape, my man.
Oh,
Yeah, you
thanks.
do.
And
Thank you.
Kwame, before you ask your next question too, and this it's actually a question that you asked when we had Alan Palmer on the show, a gentleman that you worked with. And
Oh yeah.
Kwame asked a very good question, which was, and I want to get your opinion on this too, and that was, do you consider Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers as a mini series to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
I think so. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Obviously it was within the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, right, season.
Hmm.
That would have been season 3, right?
Yes.
Right before
Yeah.
Zero. And I think because they were actual Rangers and they came in and fought the villains and morphed and did all of that, I would consider that a mini series for sure.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, because obviously our Rangers we know and love were kids. It would have been too dangerous for them to fight. So
That's-
yeah, it counts anyway.
Yeah, true.
There
And
you go.
Kwame, your next question?
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite Power Rangers moment?
Oh man, if I had to narrow it down. Gosh, it was probably transitioning from the old to the young in the classroom scene, where I take JDF's seat in the classroom in those first 2 episodes that we did. It was one of my first memories, and it'll forever be one of my most memorable.
Oh,
That's
okay.
amazing.
And you talked about and Kwame, you mentioned how Michael got to work with a legend like JDF. I mean, let's not forget too, Michael himself is also a legend. Like watching us watching Power Rangers, and I know you wanted to ask this next question to him because you asked the question to Sandy Selner when we had her on the show
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I think it's your turn to answer this one, Pete. Go for it.
No, I'll let you have this one, my man.
Ah, okay. So, Michael, how does it feel to be a legend?
Wow, I didn't know that I was considered one. Jeez. Well, hey, let me process that for a second.
Okay.
You know what? I'm humbled. I'm humbled to be part of this franchise, to be part of this iconic show that has just impacted so many lives for so many years. When I look back at playing young Tommy, young Jason David Frank, Drew McCormick on Beetleborgs, I really owe a lot of gratitude to Saban for giving me those opportunities, for entrusting me with those roles. And I don't know, I just it's so special. It's something I'll never forget. I'll always cherish. And it's in meeting the fans even today that solidifies that gratitude, because I'm just honored and humbled to meet these people who care so much about the show, and who want to still connect with those who are a part of it.
Bless you for saying that. And I know, Michael, you've worked on just the good guy roles in general, though. But if you had a personal preference, though, like in any active role, do you prefer playing good or bad?
Oh, always good. I mean, I want to make a difference in this world, and you could do that too, I guess, playing someone who is bad or evil. But I would prefer to be on the good side, to share um, just that positivity in life, and to encourage everyone to be to move forward, and to have just a great life and outcome.
Beautiful. And I would say to you too, like on screen, I would say Michael Gotto is a wonderful man, and off screen, he's an even more wonderful man. Especially like when I met you in person, like, and you talked about how you're in the education field, like myself, like I can't give you too much. I can give you so much kudos for that.
Oh, thanks, man. No, we had that special bond. That was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, in real life, I'm an educator, and I taught high school. I became a middle school principal, and now I work in human resources for my school district, where I hire teachers and principals and so forth, among other things. And um, I I went into this field because growing up, education was always important to me. In fact, we would do school on the set. That we had to do so many hours of school on the set each day, and for me, I wanted to make sure I always fulfilled that. But along the way in my educational journey, I had counselors and teachers who really impacted my life, um, and I saw that impact in my own life, and I wanted to be able to do that for other kids. And so that's essentially why I went into the field.
We have the same philosophy because that's the same exact reason why I want to do it, as well as trying to make a difference in life. And there's the old saying, helping others makes our lives better. It makes us better people. And that's one of my biggest philosophies.
Absolutely.
And we have a couple more questions before we wrap up. Kwame, you
Okay.
have one too, sir?
Oh yeah. What is it? Oh yeah. When doing a role, would you prefer? Oh no.
No,
Oh, that was
I
a.
just asked that one,
My
my
bad.
man.
Okay. What teachings or important lessons have you left you during your time in Power Rangers?
Do you mind saying it again?
Oh yeah, sure. My bad. Hang on. Wait. What teachings or important lessons have you left? Oh, sorry.
It's okay,
What
man.
what
No
okay.
worries.
What teachings or important lessons have left you during your time in Power Rangers? Like, is there anything in there that you've learned? Tom and say.
Yeah, I mean, the show is all about persistence and not giving up, right? It's about overcoming evil with good and doing the right thing even when nobody's looking, right? That's what life's about and should be about. And that's something that I noticed about the show that was something important to me even before the show, but that was echoed in the teachings of the show and something that I've tried to live by since the show.
Cool.
Ooh.
It's very respectable. And
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask you too, Michael, and this is one of my final questions, and that is, we're coming off Power Rangers 30th anniversary. It debuted in August of 1993, and this is going to lead to my next question too. What do you think the impact? What do you think of the impact that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has caused on new generation 30 years after its release?
Oh wow. On the new generation. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think the new generation can look back and watch the very first seasons of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and still see the value, still be impacted by the lessons of the show, um, and still love the storylines and the character developments and arcs and so forth. And so the reason I say that is I have 4 children of my own, and they started watching Dino Fury.
Oh, I
And
love Gotto Fury. I can't wait for Cosmic Fury.
oh yeah, no, they're stoked. I'm excited too. And so they started watching that and they wanted to watch my episodes, so they watched those as well, and they love them. They sometimes they ask, can we watch the older Power Rangers? You know, so I think the show has this incredible ability to transcend time.
Oh,
And even the new generation is interested in the very first shows.
I agree. And you
yeah.
know, Michael, like all your episodes, and they put on every single season of Power Rangers on YouTube for free. They actually there's a channel that shows it. And if you like, I could definitely send you the link to those.
Sure,
Yeah, you
please.
should.
I,
You should, yeah.
I I heard about that. I know that they're on different online platforms, and I think that's awesome. I think
Yeah,
that it's great that people have access to them.
yeah, I'll definitely
Yeah.
send you the link to it after this interview. Like, and one of the final questions I have for you, and this is gonna lead to the next segment of my show, and that is, what's next for Michael R. Gotto? Now, Michael, this is the part of my show in which my show is an open forum. You can say anything you want. You can promote, hype anything you want. I am passing the proverbial microphone on to you. The floor is yours, Mr. Gotto.
That's a beautiful microphone.
Thank you. My fiance bought it for me for
Oh,
Christmas.
congratulations on your engagement again. That's awesome.
Thank you, sir.
You know, first of all, when is the big date? Do you have one set yet?
We're looking right now. I think we want to do it the year after next year, or possibly 2026, because we want to
Okay.
build up. We want to financially be secured for the wedding.
That makes sense. Well, many blessings on on the planning of that, and just wish you and your fiance all the best.
Like you, same for you and your wife and your children.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, right now I am having an absolute blast going around meeting fans. Um, I did Power Morphicon, just got back from New York a couple weeks ago, did a couple different events there, and I just am having the time of my life. So right now I'm just open to going wherever I'm invited to meet the fans, to sign pictures, items, take pictures with fans, and 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 I say fans, but really I I I call them friends too, because that's really how I feel. Just the love is incredible, and so that's really it. I mean, I'm going to continue to go where I'm invited, and where people want to see me, and do that until further notice.
Oh, that's so cool. And just a couple of things before we conclude. I just want to say, well, actually, no, I'm gonna let my my co-host give the final comments before I say something. So, Kwame, do you have your final comments for Mr. Gatto?
Yeah, I do. Well, all I want to say is good luck out there in your future cons you'll go to, especially if there's going to be probably another Power Morphicon, and I hope you'll be there. Wish I could be there. Power Morphicon is one of the conventions I've always wanted to go, but it's on the other side of the world, which is annoying.
Sorry, man.
We
But
got to get you out here, though. We got to
Yes.
figure that out.
We
oh
got
yeah, my main goal is to, well, do what I can to meet my favorite Power Rangers, especially do it with my friends, especially like Peter. And I just hope I'll be able to meet my idol one day, because that's our prime target soon.
Awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely.
but I'm glad. I'm just glad I got the opportunity to meet you as well, because you're the younger version of Tommy, and you'll continue his legacy, and you always will.
Thanks so much, man.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
and Michael, I just have a couple of things to say before we conclude. First of all, thank you. I just gotta say my thank yous because I'm a very gracious, grateful person. I want to thank you for not only an amazing interview, but thank you for those memories you gave myself and Kwame watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers / Alien Rangers growing up. And you, but also I want to say like you have this incredible gift where you could take a 33-year-old fan and make him feel like he's 5 years old again watching Power Rangers. And I really mean that, sir. And as you know, when I met you like at the in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago, you could see the excitement. Like it was all genuine. Like I was really excited to see you. I waited like years to meet you, and I'm like, oh, this shit is actually finally happening. This is so cool. And
Well, thank you, and I was so excited to meet you. And I remember you said, "Look, don't forget my face." And when you walked in, I knew it was you, and I was so excited that you were able to make it out.
absolutely. And I also want to give a big thank you to Brendan Benfield and Studio 43 for making this interview happen. Thank you so much, Brendan. You are a absolute mensch. And also one last thing before we conclude, and I waited a long time to say do this for you, sir, and I feel like you deserve it, and that is thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
And don't you worry, Mr. Gotto, I'm going to send you a copy of this interview as soon as it's done, finalized.
Oh, I'd appreciate that. Thanks for having me on. Your show
Thank
is
you.
amazing. Petey's awesome guest panel. It rocks. I love the guests you have on your show. It's an incredible honor for me to have been invited to be a part of this, especially with you two. Thank you so much.
Bless you and have a great day, my man.
You too, guys. Take care.
Take care.